Here at Fort Hills, we have millions of pounds of scaffolding, which many of us depend on to do our job safely. We've had many incidents which have occurred while working off of scaffolding. Some of these incidents had the potential to cause serious injury or worse. So remember, what goes up must come down safely.
There are many hazards around scaffolding that poses risk to us all. As we move towards scaffold dismantles, here are some important items to keep top of mind.
First thing I'd like the other trades to know is that we built them a safe deck. We want them to be able to come up and know that they're working in a safe environment.
Own your zone. Always clean up before, during, and after using a scaffold. Leave nothing behind.
It is super hard for us to do our job if we have to clean up after you guys as well. And I know you guys have a challenge, working on these decks and working in and around a lot of these tight, congested areas. But if you could just take what comes in with you out, that'd be awesome for us.
Proper housekeeping will mitigate risks when the scaffold is going to be modified or dismantled. Keep in mind of potential dropped objects, no matter the size. Store your tools and materials safely away from edges. Use koonie bags and ensure netting is installed whenever possible. Do not overload the scaffold.
We actually find hazards all the time, from material being left in the tubes and the ledgers to materials being left on decks. We see everything from pin bars to welding rods to insulation, leftover cable tray.
In most of the tubes we will find knives, coil rod, welding rods, some other stuff that some trades like to store in there.
Placing tools, materials, or debris inside scaffold tubes can cause serious risk and result in injury to others. Never put anything inside scaffold tubes.
It's always good to inspect stuff before you actually start the dismantle process.
They do handle a lot of gear on a day-to-day basis, so they're susceptible to repetitive motion. Some of the gear can be quite heavy, so I'm ensuring that they have help. It's case-by-case basis for scaffold dismantle. To eliminate handling the gear as much as possible is to bring in a crane, use a crane basket, fill up the basket and lower it by a crane. Other times it's always possible that we can use a gin wheel or we could lower it by hand rope.
Knot failures have been the cause of many incidents here at Fort Hills. When hoisting or lowering materials, we need to be competent in doing so. Be sure the knots you tie are proper for the intended load. If you're not sure of the type of knot you're tying, don't tie it. Ask for help.
Whether you've been in the trade for 10 years or you've been in the trade for 10 months, we check and train and make sure that you are competent to tie all your knots.
The two ways we would prevent drop material is proper knots when using the rope and bucket, and the other one would be twist grip to pass gear while chaining.
Because of the elevations that we work at, we have to tie almost all of our material to get it to where we're going.
So we have our four main knots. We have our bowline, our timber hitch, the clove hitch, and the half hitch.
When we are chaining material out of a rack, we do like to use the twist and grip method. It needs to go down safely, so that ensures that the person below has that piece of material securely.
Basically, for protecting the area, we'll put up red flagging with tags. So you want to establish your drop zone.
Falling objects has the potential of significant consequences. Keeping people out of the drop zone is extremely important. Set up adequate control zones with red flagging and tags. Keep in mind the possibility of deflection.
So before we start any dismantle, one thing we want to look at is if there's any sensitive equipment that could be damaged due to a dropped object. We have this heat trace control panel. It is live, it is energized. So one thing that we did, we took it upon ourselves to create an overhead protection using a rough frame and a few planks. And then along with that, to protect the heat sinks and the controllers, we ran a meshing down to stop any debris going into the heat sink.
Using tool lanyards for each tool brought to heights is extremely effective in drop prevention. Secure them. Falls from heights always has the potential for serious injury or fatality. Ensure 100% tie-off is maintained when required, including when breaking the plane of the handrails.
Communication is the most important part of our job for sure. Instead of trying to yell and scream and shout, we have unique hand signals that we use. Every piece of material we have has a hand signal, and that allows us to be more effective in our communication.
Responsibilities as a foreman go from making sure your guys are in the right state of mind in the morning, when they come to work, make sure they're fit for duty. Your whole crew understands the task that they're about to perform and making sure they have all the tools and equipment to do it properly and safely.
Proper planning by supervision plays a very important role in preventing scaffold-related incidents.
Okay boys, this morning we got some dismantles to do. In regards to them, what are we going to do today to work smart, work safe? I myself...
Our daily toolbox talks in the mornings are a chance for us to get together at a personal level and engage each other. We always ask each other, what are we going to do to work safe and how are we going to achieve that?
We're going to take the time to look inside the tube to make sure there's no loose material left inside.
So if you're on the Four Hills project as a scaffolder working on dismantles, or you're part of any other trade, ironworker, pipe fitter, millwright, electrician, working around scaffold dismantles, what are you going to do to work smart?
All right, gentlemen, are you ready for work? Yes! Let's go!
Here's a recap of what we just watched.
Always clean up before, during, and after using a scaffold. Leave nothing behind. Secure your tools and store your materials safely. Never put anything inside a scaffold tube. Using a crane and material basket will minimize manual handling and can eliminate falling objects. Know your knots and get them right. Using tool lanyards for each tool brought to heights is extremely effective in drop prevention. Secure them. Ensure 100% tie-off is maintained when required. Ensure a control zone is established, and plan the work the plan.
With your help, we can make sure scaffolding is used, erected, modified, and dismantled in a safe manner. Take the time to do it right. Safety above all else.